welcome to the WOOLapyk Podcast. My name is Ida and this is a podcast about knitting. I have my windows open and there are some kids playing not too far from here, so you might hear a little bit of joyful giggling and things like that. It's a very warm day, so I'm not going to close them because it's hot. It's been very hot this past month here in Denmark. I live in Denmark, by the way, if you're new here. And I was just hearing on the news that this past June, today is July 3rd, but this past June has been the hottest ever recorded in Denmark. So that says quite a lot, I would say. Yeah, so like I said, this is a podcast about knitting. You will also see a little bit of snippets from my daily life. I like to record here and there during the days and then share them with you. And I also dye yarn. I have a little teeny tiny yarn dyeing business called WOOLapyk. And I'm trying to be better at talking about that here in the podcast and also showing you guys what I am working on. So I think the way I'm going to do it today is that I will put some videos in at the end of this episode, so you can always turn it off if you're not interested. But I will put some video in where I just sort of record some of the colorways that will be in a shop update that I'm planning, which it's the first time I actually think I've done a shop update, or maybe it's the second time. But I'm planning to do that on July 17th. I don't know the time, but I'll try and put that in here. Or if I don't, then you can always look at my Instagram and you will find information about it there. I've been talking about doing it at the end of June, but we are going on holiday on next weekend, or this weekend, so it is Tuesday today and we're going on Saturday, so I just thought it would be silly doing an update tomorrow and then having that for 3 days and then closing down the shop because I was going on a holiday. So I'm gonna wait until we come back. We are going to Sweden, if any of you were wondering, I'm very excited about that. The weather is going to be pretty great there as well, so that's nice. We are going in a little house in the woods, and I am really looking forward to it. I used to go, when I was a kid, we would almost always go to Sweden for a summer vacation, so I am very nostalgic about that. I have very good memories of our summer holidays in Sweden as a kid. My mom has some family there, so we would usually just go visit them and stay there and sleep outside in a tent in their garden. Jakob, my boyfriend, is a little more hesitant. They used to go down south. They would fly to Spain and things like that, and they would just have like a very traditional Danish charter week down south. And when I'm saying down south, I mean in the southern part of Europe. But we've been talking about this, and we have a daughter who is now 20 months old, and he also has a daughter who she'll be 10 in August. And I think it's important that we teach them that summer holidays can be a lot of things, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on a summer vacation or summer holiday to have fun. So yeah, sometimes you go far away. Last year we went to Sri Lanka, so that's quite far away. But other times you also just do smaller trips, so you might even just stay at home for your summer vacation, and that's gonna be fine too. So I think there's something about teaching values and just showing your kids what a summer vacation can be, because I think if they grow up just thinking that a real summer vacation is something where you have to use a lot of money and you have to travel far away, kind of limits them a little bit, and you don't always have the money for it either. Anyway, that's complete tangent. It's funny, when I started recording I didn't really feel like I was that talkative, but I guess I am. So let's just start with some knitting. I have 2 finished objects that I do not have here to show you because I already gifted them away, but I did take some footage of them, and I'm just gonna show you the footage while I talk about it. So we went to my brother's wedding this past weekend, and I had a good friend of mine whom I've known since we were 16 or something like that. And she took care of our daughter Esther, who is, like I said, 20 months old. Someone is walking by with music. We have Roskilde Festival is this week, so all of Roskilde is very festive, and there's a lot of young people walking around here being all drunk and sunburned and all listening to music. So I think he's gone now. Yeah, that was a side note again. So anyway, so my friend was taking care of Esther while we were at the wedding, or she was taking care of her until it was bedtime, and then we just drove by and picked her up, and then we brought her back to the party and put her in a pram, and she slept until 11 o'clock, and then she woke up and she was part of the party for a couple of hours, and then we just decided to go home because she was tired and we just could not get her to sleep. But I just wanted to knit her a little something as a thank you, or I knit her daughter something as a thank you for taking care of Esther for that afternoon. And I've been knitting for her before, and she's always been so appreciative of the knitwear that I've gifted her girls, and she's always taken good care of it. So I really enjoy knitting for her. I have not knit for her since Esther was born, but I thought this would be a good time. And what I knit for her, as you can see probably on the video, were just 2 really tiny little scarves, so they didn't take long. I knit them out of scrap yarns. So excuse me. I used, for the kind of corally pink ones, I used Tusindfods Engleuld and Isager alpaca one, and I used 2 strands, so I mauled them together. And for the bluish one, I used some baby alpaca from Peru that my sister brought home when she was there a couple of years ago. I used some silk merino, which is my own yarn base, and then I used another of my yarn base is superwash merino, and then I ended up at the end I used the same Isager alpaca alpaca one as I used on the other scarf, and then I just added some fringe, not tassels, and yeah, that turned out super cute. It's called the button scarf, and it's a Norwegian pattern, but you can find it in English too. And they didn't take me long at all. I actually knit 3 of them, but the first one I didn't like. I followed the pattern, it turned out weird, so I did some modifications to the 2 new ones that I knit. Yeah, so those are my finished objects. Then I have been casting on sweaters like a crazy woman. I had an exam on the 25th of June, and for some reason on the week leading up to that exam I just cast on 3 sweaters. It was an oral exam, and I never ever have enjoyed the oral exams. I think Denmark, and probably Scandinavia too, but I know Denmark obviously because I'm from Denmark, we have a lot of oral exams, a lot more than, for example, the US, we hardly ever have multiple choice quizzes. Generally we have all oral exams, and I know why. I mean, it makes sense to me. I hate them, but I think it's a good way to do examinations because it gives you a chance to actually show what you can and what you know. Obviously, if you're not good at that subject, it's not very nice because it's hard to hide and to give the teachers a sort of very clear view of, again, where you are and what your strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah, so anyway, I had that and it went super well, so I'm very happy about that. But I think just leading up to that exam, I knew I had to prepare, and I just didn't feel like preparing at all, so it was just definitely a way of procrastinating and doing other things. So the exam was on Monday and I used all Sunday preparing, basically. I had not prepared at all any day before that Sunday. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to show you is, the first sweater I want to show you is the one that I was working on my last podcast, which is the SSK by Helga Isager. Let me show it to you. It is this one right here. And I'm knitting this out of Isager Japanese cotton, and then a silk mohair. This is the Japanese cotton I was talking about this last time, and this is a silk mohair that I bought in Germany or in Berlin a couple of years ago. And this is and I'm in the middle of a row, hooray! Okay. But this is the sweater. You start out by knitting, it's knit from sleeve to sleeve basically, so you cast on and knit one sleeve. Then you knit front and back, as I just finished knitting the front and back, and I am in the middle of trying to join the front and back so I can knit the other sleeve. So it has been hibernating. Actually, it's been hibernating for a couple of weeks because I cast on all the other sweaters, but this was the only thing I brought with me to my brother's wedding. He lives close to my parents, so that's in the western part of Jutland, so we were there for a weekend. And I was knitting on this on the drive home and when we were there as well. And I am super excited about this one, or getting this finished. I am not enjoying the pattern much. I'm enjoying knitting it, but I feel like it's not a very clear pattern as most Danish patterns, which is something I always talk about. I'm getting better at it, I would say. I think it's a very special way of writing patterns that it gets easier the more you knit Danish patterns, but it's not a very intuitive way as a knitter to read. I don't find it very intuitive at all. I really have to read each line several times. Not every line, but often I have to read them several times to kind of really understand what it is that she means and what it is that she wants me to do. So, but it is getting easier, so I think yeah, practice makes perfect. Even though I still don't understand why they just don't write them a little more knitter friendly. So you don't have to use a lot of energy trying to understand the pattern, basically. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so this is the SSK by Helga Isager, and it's from her newest book, which is the PetiteKnit book. And it has a lot of beautiful, beautiful patterns in here. Very kind of basic patterns. I actually went to a she did a little talk at Sommerfuglen, which is a yarn store in Copenhagen, and I went there and she kind of talked about the book and she showed off her the samples from the book, and I tried some of the samples on, and it was very interesting just to hear her thoughts about the designs and why she chose to do a more basic design collection. And yeah, and it was just quite fun to actually see the samples and feel the yarns and try them on. And I met up with 2 lovely ladies that I've met through Instagram, so that was really nice too, to just meet them in real life. Yeah, so I had this one. I was actually knitting on this one while I was there, and then I tried on the S6 sweater as well, which is, let me show you, this one, cable 6 S6, which is this pattern right here. And it's a gorgeous sweater, and so I of course had to cast that on as well. It is, let me see here. And basically it's the same construction as the one I'm knitting now from Helga Isager. It is knit from cuff to cuff, and then you pick up and you knit the bottom hem as the last part. And I am knitting this out of entirely out of scrap yarn, or not scrap yarn, stash yarn. And let me see, where is it? Here we are. So I am on the sleeve, as you can see. I cast on using I just had 1 skein, which is perfect. That's all you need for this sweater, so just made me really happy. I don't like having a lot of yarn laying around, which I do, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I think a lot of knitters do, but it still stresses me out a little bit because I also want to knit with it so it doesn't take up space in our apartment. So anyway, this is Isager Tweed, and I'm not sure what the, let me see, this is it, as you can see. The colorway is Winter Grey. So here's it. And it's a 70% wool and 30% mohair. Just a very nice grey with, yeah, tweedy specks of brown and blacks. And then I have used, for the main part of the body, I am using, here we go, these 2 colors, so a grey and white, a very light grey. And then the light grey is Cumulus. I don't know if you can see this. It's Yaku 416. It's 100% superwash wool. And this, I think I've had this in my stash for 3 years. And then this white alpaca is Drops Alpaca, 100% alpaca, as you can see here. And I've had this in my stash for, I would say, more than 5 years, 5 or 6 years. It's been there for a long time, taking up a lot of space. So I am so happy that I especially get to knit with these 2. I think I'm gonna have quite a lot of skeins left over, but still, it just makes me so happy that I am getting rid of stash yarn, and also that I really like, I'm very happy with this color combination that I get from these 3 yarns. I think it's just a very neutral but not boring color combination, and it's something that's gonna go with everything. It is not, I like white clothes, don't get me wrong, but I am someone who always I'm very clumsy, so I tend to just spill things on me. So I think this is gonna be nice because it has this mild effect, and it's not completely white. It has that gray in there too, so any kind of spills and things that my daughter might wipe off in my clothes is not gonna be that visible, or not as visible as if it had been completely white. So yeah. Oh, I really feel like knitting on this when I get this out. It's very enjoyable so far. And I think it is more so because I am knitting on this other one, which is also by Helga Isager, and it's, like I said, it's sort of the same construction, so I don't struggle as much with the pattern. It makes more sense, I guess. And I really enjoy the cables a lot. It's not a complicated cable at all. It's a 6 repeat cable, so it's, you know, C6, so it's every 6 row you do the cable, so it's not, you don't do it a whole lot. And so there's just a lot of purls and knit stitches in between there. Yeah. Not, I think that's it for this one. Then I have my third. This is, I feel crazy for having this many sweaters on my needles. But I'm very excited about all 4 of them, so that's nice. I kind of wanted to knit on all of them. Which is it's not really a problem, but I only have 2 hands, so I sort of obviously have to prioritize and decide which ones to bring along whenever I go somewhere. This is the Tegna that I am knitting. This is part of my Make 9. This is the only one of my Make 9. None of the other three sweaters have been on my Make 9, so I doubt that I will meet my Make 9 list, or that I will knit everything from that this year, but that's fine. I want to knit on things that makes me happy and excited, so all of these sweaters are making me very excited. But anyway, so this is the Tegna, and I am at the very beginning of it. It's been in hibernation as well for a little bit because I've been knitting on the other sweaters. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard to see, I guess. So I'm just at the lace, like I said, and I'm knitting this out of my own yarn. This is the 80% non-superwash Corriedale wool and 20% nylon base that I have in the popsicle colorway. I don't know if you can tell. It's just a very sort of grayish neutral base with little pops of yellow, reds, and sort of bluish purple in there. So, and maybe you can see the colors better here, I don't know. Yeah, not much else to say about this sweater. I am looking forward to having the lace done, not because the lace is difficult or anything. I'm actually quite enjoying it, but that way I can just bring this along and knit on it, because it's just stuck in a stitch after the lace repeats. So that's going to be perfect, just knitting to bring with me anywhere I go, especially on the playground where I go a lot with my daughter, or out in nature or whatever. We go out a lot. We go out at least twice a day, because she just wants to get out. When we get up in the morning, and I would say after probably 15 minutes, she will bring me my shoes and she would bring me her shoes, and she's ready to go. So she gets super upset when we are not going when she wants to go. So we generally get out quite early in the morning, around 8 o'clock. We will leave the house and we will bike somewhere, and then we will be back around 10:30, and she will have a little snack, and then she will nap. She'll wake up and we will have more food, and I will pack some snacks, and then we will go out and be out most of the afternoon as well. It's nice, and especially now with the weather being so nice, it's really enjoyable to be out and about with her. We used to walk a lot because I would just take her in the stroller, but we finally got my car seat installed, I would say a month ago, and it's just been, she loves it, I love it. We can go so much further, and we always can get back. She's fallen asleep a couple of times in the car seat, or in the bike, or on the bike seat, and I will just carry her up and she will just sleep, continue sleeping. But generally we will get back and she will get a little bit to eat, and then I can put her down for a nap here at home, and that means I have time at home to do other things. When we were out earlier and she fell asleep, I obviously couldn't do things at home because we were out, and I would walk around with her in the pram. So that's nice. Another side note. Candy. I have candy in here. I always hide my candy in my knitting bags because this is the only place my boyfriend won't look. He doesn't know that I have candy in here, and he never watches my podcast, so he won't know about this either. So I can tell you guys, it's just the perfect place to hide, you know, chocolates and things like that. Anyway, my last project is the Cumulus sweater by PetiteKnit. This is, I think this is my newest cast on of all the sweaters. And this is it, as you can see. I fell in love with the V-neck. I really like that V-neck. It's not done. You finish it off with an I-cord, which some of you might know I'm very fond of I-cords. I really like them as edging. I feel like they give a very kind of nice, clean look and a professional look to the finished garment. I'm knitting this out of my own yarn, or the let me see here. Just a second. Just finding it for you guys to see. So this is my own yarn. This is a superwash base and superwash nylon base in the Helga colorway, and then I'm holding it together with a strand of Isager silk mohair. This is color number 0, I think. It's a white with sort of a champagne undertone, I would say. The original pattern is actually knit with 2 strands of mohair. I just didn't want that. I wanted to include some of my own yarn, and yeah, I just like that look better. But I really like the shape of the sweater, so that's why I obviously wanted to knit it. What else is there to say about this? Yeah, I think that's not much else to say. I like how the silk mohair sort of tones the Helga colorway down. So it's obviously colorful, but it's not in your face colorful. It's more sort of muted. And I am knitting this, so I'm knitting this with my own yarn, and if you are or have been knitting with hand-dyed yarns and you are knitting a bigger project, so you're knitting with 2 or more skeins of a certain colorway, it's a very good idea to alternate skeins. And by that I mean that you cake up 2 skeins of yarn, which I have done as one in each here. Each of these project bags that my mom made, actually. I've been selling these at different knitting festivals. I have not added these to the shop, but I really enjoy these a lot. I'm using them a lot. There's no zipper that the yarn can snag on or anything. It's just very nice project bags. It's like a Japanese style bento bag, I think. Not bento bag. I don't know the name. It's a Japanese style, and you just kind of pull it through and you can knit it. I'm actually bringing these to the playground too, because I can walk around, or Esther, or when we're just out walking, and I can knit because it's just hanging here off my wrist. Anyway, that's the side note. So I have, obviously I have Helga and a strand of silk mohair in this, and I have the same one in this. And then I just knit 2 rows of, or 2 rounds as it is now, 2 rounds of 1 skein, and then I switch to the other one. I don't cut the yarn, I just kind of, I guess I can show you what it looks like. I don't know if you can see, I just pull the yarn up along the knitted fabric, so when I switch, so I don't have ends to weave in afterwards. And it works fine. What I'm gonna do today or tomorrow is wind up the third skein of yarn because that's from a different dye lot, and that's then the other 2 skeins that I'm working with right now. So I know that's gonna be a little more different than these 2, so I want to stripe that in. Just probably just with one of the other ones. So I'm gonna put the third one in this one in hibernation, and then with this and the new skein of yarn. Yeah, so that's the plans for this sweater. I hope to be finished with this soon as well. Well, I hope to be finished soon with all of them. I guess it would be make most sense for me to finish this one because that's one of the sweaters that I could actually wear at this time of year. At least with the weather we have now. It might change, and then obviously Danish summer can be very cold as well, so I could probably wear a woolen sweater there as well. But it doesn't look like that we're gonna get cooler weather anytime soon, which I am very happy with. So that's it for all my sweater knitting. I still have, I'm still debating what to cast on for my daughter. I had this little goal or resolution to always have something for me on my needles and something for her. And at the moment I don't have anything for her on my needles. And that's because I have a hard time deciding what to cast on for her. I am thinking about either I want to cast on the Blouse by Anne-Sophie Welling. Yes, person. She's the author behind the Omhu knitting book that I showed in my last podcast, or the podcast before. Or a couple of bloomers from that same book. Or I might knit her the Cumulus Blouse by Millefryd Knitwear. So one of those 3. I think I'm at the moment I'm probably thinking I'm gonna cast on Blouse because that's a knit on a lighter fabric, so it's 28 stitches I believe per 10 centimeters or 4 inches, and that would be fitting for this summer weather that we are having. I knit her the Hazel Blouse, which is gorgeous, and she's been wearing this a lot these last weeks, when in the evenings when it's been just a little bit cooler. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, timeless sweater that I love. I love her. I love when she wears it. Someone is coming by with the music again. Sorry about that. Like I said, I have my summer holiday from school right now, since I finished my exam, and I'm really hoping to be able to do a lot of work with the shop. just updating. I really want to have my own website. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but at least just doing a proper shop update, which is gonna happen on the 17th of July. Just little things like finding packaging supplies that I want to use, and just basically administrative stuff, and making new colorways, and just devoting some time to the shop, because I have not been able to do that this last year because of my school. And so I have been going to knitting festivals, and that's been wonderful, and I've been selling yarn to happy, lovely people, but I have not been able to, I would say, build an online presence the way I want to. So I hope to somehow be able to do that this summer. And also I have these things I want to just write my daughter. Like, I want to write down things she does and things she says, and sort through the pictures that we have of her and make her a proper just photo book of her life so far. And I have a lot of little things that I really want to take care of, but those are like my two main things for this summer. I actually knit her. Hello, this is I know this is a knitting podcast, but I didn't knit her. I wrote down, for the first 12 months of her life, I wrote down each month what she did and how she slept and just her personality at the time. And I managed to do that, and I was so happy. And then last December, I did Vlogmas, and my computer does not have a lot of memory on it. So I transferred all of those documents that I wrote about her to an external hard drive, and something happened in that process. So I thought I had them on the hard drive and they were there, but I could not open them. I didn't know that at the time, so I transferred them and I deleted it from my computer, thinking that they would be on the hard drive, and they weren't. I had month 1, 2, and 3, but I lost the rest of the year. And I have not been able to talk about that, because that was really made me very, very sad. And I do still have some notes from each month. I would write them down on my phone, just like smiles and rows. So very, very basic notes, not sentences. And at the time when I was writing them, they would kind of help me think about other things. And those things are gone now. I cannot remember them, but I'm trying to recreate those months just from the notes, and then I'm just trying to be okay with the fact that all the little things that I wrote down I cannot remember, and they're gone forever. It's very makes me really sad, because my mom was very good at doing little notes of me and my siblings when we were young, and I've always really enjoyed reading that. And so I wanted to do that for her as well, and I am doing it, but the original and the best part of what I've written is gone. So I want to use these next months on recreating that as best as I can. And also just sort through all the pictures and all the videos that I have of her, and sort of get that into maps of okay, her first month and her second month and things like that. And then when I have all that sorted out, I can choose pictures for just little books for her that I can print out and that she can have. Actually, I think, yeah, that's very important to me. So I really, really want to get that done. Yeah, and then it's just really nice not having to stress about school. I would say it's been very, very stressful spring for me. Just too much, really. It's not been a very enjoyable first part of 2018 at all. I wonder if my daughter's awake. So, and then we had May was especially crazy, and it's not because good things haven't happened, because they have. It's just been a lot of things, both good and bad things, and I would just prefer that to be spread out a little bit more. And so May, obviously, I've talked about that, how crazy that was with school and 2 festivals, one of which I was arranging and organizing knitting festivals. And I didn't tell that at the time, but I think 5 days before Fiberfolk, which is the one that I organize, before that happened, my mom called me in the evening telling me that my dad had been admitted to hospital with a stroke. They live in the countryside, so they had they both had an ambulance come out, but they also had the helicopter come out because yeah, it was bad. But he did amazingly well. It was just another extra stress on top of everything else, school and organizing Fiberfolk. And he was at hospital for 3 days, and he got out on Friday, and they came here, drove all the way here to be with us for Fiberfolk, which was amazing. And he's doing very well, all things considered. His heart obviously is not at what it was before, and it never will be, but he's doing great, and he is a little more tired, but they say that usually it takes some time for him and his body to sort of get back to a new normal, and that would probably be better with time. And he just started yesterday on a kind of rehabilitation class thing with other people who've had strokes. So things are looking fine, but it was just another stressful thing. And then this month, or last month, June, my boyfriend's dad passed away. He'd been sick for a couple of months. We knew it was gonna happen, but that's obviously, it was not fun at all. So yeah, it's been quite crazy these past 6 months of 2018. I'm hoping that it's gonna be a little more relaxed for the rest of the year. Yeah, but it's not been bad. It's not been a bad 6 months at all. It's just been a lot. But my boyfriend Jakob has his 2nd day of holiday. He has 3 weeks vacation now, and he's actually down in the basement sort of sorting things out, and we're gonna use these next days on cleaning up the apartment because we have Airbnb guests staying here while we are in Sweden. So we have to get everything prepped and ready, and we hate doing that, both of us, but we also love it because that means that we really get a thorough clean of this apartment. Like, everything gets cleaned, refrigerator, drawers, you know, even walls, and everything gets a very thorough clean, and we need that in this apartment, in this house. So it's gonna be good once it's done, but we're gonna sort of use the next couple of days just doing that, so we don't have to do everything the day before we leave. Yeah, and I think we're gonna go down just to the pedestrian area of Roskilde later today, just to get a little bit of that festival feel, because it's quite nice. There's a lot of young people, old people too, but it's primarily younger people who goes to the festival, or at least goes there for the whole week, because the music doesn't start until Thursday, but a lot of people have been there since this weekend. So yeah, so I will speak to you later this month, hopefully. I said that last time too. Seems like I'm always a couple of days late, but at least I get the podcasts out. If you're new, I try to get a podcast out every month. That's my goal for this year. So this podcast is the podcast for June. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are enjoying your summer or winter if you are in Australia or other places down south. I will talk to you in 3 or 4 weeks time. Bye.